Put your money intact, put your money intact. Invest and show that your money come back. Put your money intact, put your money intact. Invest and show that your money come back. Everybody say, one child, one youth, one tack. One child, one youth, one tack, 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 tack. Become financially free. Join the abundance community, diaspora city. Yeah, we got global accessibility. Your future, your currency. Everybody say, one child, one youth, one tack. One child, one youth, one tack, 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 tack. Become financially free. Join the Abundance Community Diaspora City. Contact our website or social media for more info. Everybody say, one child, one youth, one tack. One child, one youth, one tack, 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 tack.
So welcome again, everybody. Welcome to this awesome training. Our facilitator, our trainer today is no other than Mr. Joel Carr. Mr. Carr is the Executive Director for the Caribbean, Latin America, and North America. He's also the Assistant Director of Training, Human Resource Development, and Communication. And it just gives me so much pleasure to introduce him as the trainer today. Mr. Carr is my right-hand man. I like to say I've never told him that before, but I'll say it publicly. He's the wind beneath my wings. And I'm so honored. I'm so grateful, Mr. Carr, that you are walking this journey with me right by my side. We complement each other. We have a lot in common. And I appreciate your support and your wisdom. Together as directors of training. Hello, please. As directors of training, I think we make a great team. And the sky is the limit for us with TAC. Together, we can achieve great things for this community of TAC. So thank you, Mr. Carr. Our topic today is why launching the exchange is extremely important. There are far more important things. Such an important, pertinent topic for us today. It gives me great pleasure. Mr. Carr, the floor is yours.
So let me briefly go over the benefits again. Benefits of listing. The first one I listed was it provides liquidity by providing an avenue for trading. And I did say that listing just makes the cryptocurrency become accessible to more traders and potential investors. And I did give a definition for liquidity, which I said was just the ability to convert a crypto to another crypto or to cash without it affecting the price. Second benefit of listing, I said it may provide recognition for cryptocurrency. And so market visibility to a wider audience. And that includes potential investors, traders, as well as enthusiasts. The third thing I mentioned was that it gives an opportunity for price discovery. And that's where listing on an exchange, it provides an opportunity for buyers and sellers to interact. And so it creates supply and demand, and this in turn helps to determine the price. And the fourth benefit I mentioned was that it provides trading opportunities because it allows traders to speculate on price movements because we have different type of traders, and so it provides an avenue for traders to speculate. It have short-term traders that all this will help to provide an increase in trading activity. And the fifth thing I mentioned was that it provides an initial price bump as holders speculate on the price and enthusiasm is high. So those are the five things I listed as benefits of listing. And so I will move quickly to the next section. But let me say this, there are over 10,000 cryptocurrencies listed on CoinMarketCap. And some estimate there to be over 25,000 cryptocurrencies in existence. Of course, this is due to there really is a low barrier to entry, and once you're able to write or employ someone to write code to run on the blockchain, you can create a cryptocurrency. And so with over 25,000 cryptocurrencies, the question I'll ask this afternoon, how many of us off the top of our heads can name, say, 25 cryptocurrencies? I'm not saying 25 top, just 25 of any cryptocurrency. That's basically one cryptocurrency out of every 1,000 cryptocurrencies that are projects that are released. I know that I probably would struggle to do that. And so we have to ask ourselves, are most of these projects that are released, they would have been released with a lot of promise, they would have launched, they would have listed with claims to go to the moon, they would have had airdrops, various different features. But now many of these have been deemed dead projects and have become the subject of delisting. And of course, we know Mr. Abundance would have shared just last week, I think it was, of about 10 cryptocurrencies that were up for delisting. And so we are now going to look on what are some of the limitations or some of the things that listing a cryptocurrency doesn't really do for your cryptocurrency. And the first thing we have to understand is that listing isn't magic. It isn't that you suddenly list a cryptocurrency and everything just happens for it. The first point we're making this afternoon is that listing a cryptocurrency, it doesn't create demand. It just facilitates trading. Let me say that again. Listing a cryptocurrency does not create demand. It just facilitates trading. And so listing, actually, the exchange is just a venue. It's a place where buyers and sellers come to do trading. And so it's not a driver. It doesn't drive demand. And so there's no automatic value creation just by listing on an exchange. So persons are not going to suddenly have a high demand or a desire to buy a cryptocurrency or to invest their monies and to hold a cryptocurrency just because it's listed. And so that's something that we have to understand, very important, that exchange is just somewhere that trading is facilitated. It doesn't create or drive demand. The second thing this afternoon we want to take note of is that listing on an exchange, as I mentioned earlier, one of the benefits is that it creates price bumps. But the thing about these price bumps is that they're often short-lived and speculative at best. And so hype-driven increases, often when a coin is listed on a new exchange, there are initial price surges that surround the hype and speculation of the coin. But this is not based on underlying, this may not be based on the underlying value of the project. And so price bumps are usually what we consider to be artificial or unsustainable growth, because people are only going to speculate for so long and for so much. They're going to be willing to take so much risk and no more simply by just speculating on a coin just because it's listed. And so that's the second thing we have to realize, that hype driven increases are only short-lived. They're not sustainable. I'm sure we can think of many projects that we would have heard that would have come out initially. They had good prices, but after a while, you can think of things like Dodge and so that came out. Initial persons might have made quite a bit of money, and then everything crashed to the ground because there was no real underlying value to the project. And so eventually, once that period ends, usually everything collapses. The third thing we want to take into account this afternoon is that liquidity isn't enough on its own. And so, what does that mean? Liquidity is not value. An exchange listing does improve liquidity because, of course, as I said earlier, it provides a marketplace for persons to buy and sell. But that in itself doesn't guarantee a higher value or higher price. And so liquidity without demand is really useless. Even if a coin is easy to trade, there's an environment for it to trade, but there is nobody that's has a genuine demand for this coin. It really doesn't have any and it doesn't serve any useful purpose. So liquidity without demand is useless. And of course, liquidity might not be a true indicator of a project's quality. And so that being said, it says liquid, even though a project might have funding or backing behind of it, it doesn't necessarily say it's a good project. There's somebody use mic on? Okay. The fourth thing we want to look at in terms of what limitations there might be. Yeah, that's Nelly Sui. Her mic.
I'm trying to see. I'm not
I
seeing who it is.
I muted her. Yeah, I muted her.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
sorry
you.
about that, everybody. Yeah, the fourth thing we need to take into consideration is that it doesn't fix underlying problems. So if a cryptocurrency has technical weaknesses, for example, its design is poor, it lacks a proper use case or a purpose for it, real world application. It has a weak community. There isn't really any development. Listing on an exchange is not going to fix or solve or magically cause all these issues to suddenly disappear. Another point to take into consideration is that there's always an opportunity cost for everything we do. So if we put our energies into something, usually it's not available for something else. So it's the cost of making one decision over the other. And the time and energy that is spent trying to list a cryptocurrency on multiple various exchanges does take away from time when you could be doing other valuable things like building partnerships, growing the community, developing technology. There is also always something that you give up for something else. And listing on an exchange does at times cause one to have a false sense of accomplishment. So you may think, hey, I'm getting places, we're achieving success because we're listed. But if we take into consideration what was said before, that listing on an exchange doesn't necessarily add value or add demand, we may actually be giving ourselves a false sense of accomplishment. Another thing to take into account about being listed on an exchange is that it creates a vulnerability to manipulation. And what we'll understand is that on multiple exchanges, we have to be aware in the real world that there are a lot of exchange bots and other things that do price manipulation out there. And so being listed does expose a cryptocurrency to some of the effects of these price bumps, artificial price bumps, and expose you, of course, to things like rug pulls. And the last thing I would mention in terms of some of the limitations or what a listing does not do for you is actually it does not guarantee visibility. As much as it may be a benefit to be listed to give visibility, listing on an exchange does not guarantee visibility. As I mentioned earlier, there are over 25,000 crypto projects that exist. And so you really become one among many. And so being listed does not guarantee that more persons will see your coin, or you'll suddenly have a driving demand for your cryptocurrency because you're listed, because you'll just be one in the many thousand cryptocurrencies that are listed. And so there has to be something more that drives investors and users, traders to your cryptocurrency. And so this is one limit. This is also a limitation of listing. And so I will move to the third and final section, which speaks to the things that cryptocurrency that actually give cryptocurrency sustained value. So we have to consider what exactly has to happen before, during, or even long after a cryptocurrency has been listed that will actually ensure that it doesn't give birth and then die prematurely. And one of the first things that we have to look at is the utility or the real world use cases of a cryptocurrency. Does it solve a problem? Does the cryptocurrency address a real world problem and offer tangible solutions? The stronger the use case, the more demand it will create. And we know, for example, TAC is intended to become an alternate financial solution to provide, open up channels between Africa and the diaspora to really leverage all that untapped potential for trade. We know that TAC is intended to really address artificial scarcity. And so there's so many use cases and so many reasons and real world situation that TAC is intended to solve. So that's one of the main drivers of a cryptocurrency having sustained value is the utility of it, the practical applications. What can this cryptocurrency be used? Can it be used for payments? Can it? And so we understand that when we're looking at the Afro diaspora city and providing, as Mr. Abundance always says, that the the diaspora city is even more valuable than the exchange, because once we create the demand for TAC, then the avenue or the venue to trade TAC would be the simplest for us to accomplish. But it is for us to understand that that demand, that utility that real world application. How are we going to, why will an investor need to part with their fiat and hold TAC? Why will a trader need to take his assets and exchange it for TAC? What are the applications? What's going to drive a demand? It's one thing to have your TAC available for purchase, but why would I buy TAC out of all the tens of thousands of cryptocurrencies that are out there in the market? And so it is the utilities, the use case, the real world application of TAC that is going to drive and make a difference with the demand. And so we understand that's what the TAC CEO and the leadership has been pushing, is for us to understand the utility is even more important than just the venue where the trading is going to take place. And so we also have to understand that adoption and the user base is extremely important for sustained value of a cryptocurrency. That's what we have been preaching. Active users, expanding the base, understanding that this is a numbers game. Cryptocurrency is a numbers game. It's the adoption, it's the strength of the community. And so it's for us to understand, even more important than where we get to trade, is for us to have a large enough community to trade among. And so pushing the adoption and expanding the base so that when we do get that venue to trade, that there is a wide cross section of persons for us to trade with, to trade among. So that's also a very important aspect of sustaining value in a cryptocurrency, is having that active user base, that thriving community. We also have to look at partnerships and integration, collaboration with businesses. If we're really thinking about it and we're looking at what Chief Abundance is driving, what he's pushing, these are the things that give sustained value to a cryptocurrency. The merchant adoption, the partnerships that we're able to form, the integration. Where will we spend TAC? Because TAC cannot just appreciate based on speculation, just persons deciding, okay, there's a new cryptocurrency called the Abundance Community Coin. So I have $100,000. I have nothing else to do with. So I'm just gonna buy some TAC and put it down. We have to understand that having the exchange isn't enough. We have to create that environment necessary to drive that demand. And if persons have the ability to buy and to sell, to pay with TAC for goods and services through merchant adoption and through forming strategic partnerships where TAC can be spent as the money that it is. These are the things that are truly valuable and truly necessary to drive the sustained demand for TAC and to drive up the price and to keep TAC sustained into perpetuity. So another thing that we have to look at is the technology and innovation. When Mr. Abundance decided to go with proof of authority, that's the kind of innovation, that's the kind of technological advancement that your cryptocurrency has to be looking at. This allows for it to be scalable. We're looking at speed, security, reliability. These are the things that, as I mentioned before, give real world practical application. if your cryptocurrency is going to be used as a form of payment, you want to be able to walk into a grocery store. You want to be able to go to a fast food restaurant and order something and pay, and the transaction doesn't take half an hour to process. You want it to be basically instantaneous, just as passing your fiat money across the counter. So you have to look at the underlying technology, the innovation, the scalability, the speed, the security, and the reliability upon which your cryptocurrency is operating. And I can say to us, proof of authority, as would have been expounded on in the panel discussion we did, proof of authority is really that innovative driving opportunity that TAC has adopted. And so if we take into consideration and we put everything in perspective that has been said this afternoon, where we see there are important benefits of listing a cryptocurrency. No one can get away from that. They're extremely important benefits. We also have to measure that against the tens of thousands of cryptocurrencies that have achieved listing but are now waiting to be buried. And we have to contrast that against some of the practical steps and applications that we need to take and we are taking in the abundance community um, to actually give sustained value to our cryptocurrency so that beyond listing, we're able to drive demand, create real world applications, real use case that can say to investors and traders and enthusiasts, this is why you should come and buy TAC. And so if we're really looking at what Mr. Abundance and the leadership of TAC has been pushing and what Mr. Abundance has been practically executing, we will understand why exactly when it's said there are things that are far more important than listing. Although listing is very important, we will get a better understanding. So in conclusion, we look at listing, though it is a necessary step, it is not the final goal. It's a tool that facilitates trading, but it's not a magic bullet for success. It is not a substitute for the things that really drive the value of a cryptocurrency. That's those things like a strong user base, a strong use case, robust technology, a healthy community. And these are the things that we have been pushing and advancing in the abundance community coin. So I encourage us this afternoon as I conclude for us to continue to focus on the things that drive sustainability, these long-term, that will give us long-term value rather than short-term speculative spikes, where we can create genuine demand for our cryptocurrency. So this is where I will leave it this afternoon. I hope I was audible enough after
Mhm.
earlier, and I will hand back over to you, director. If
Wow.
I'll open the
Uh,
floor for questions.
Mr. Carl, thank you for such an insightful presentation. I really believe that there was a lot of unlearning and relearning happening in this community during this training today. You know, you said it so correctly. The exchange is necessary. Listing tack on the exchange is necessary, but it is not enough. It is not enough. So it is a sobering thought, but we are on the right track. Whatever chief is leading us to do, we are on the right track. So thank you so much. I think I took 3 pages of notes. Yes, I did. Thank you for all of that information. So let's open the floor to questions or comments. Does anybody have a question for Mr. Carr on the training or comment? We'll look at general questions afterwards.
Hello, good evening to the house.
Good evening, Mr. Pius.
Good evening, Madam Samuel. I'm so happy to join you this evening. I enjoyed the training. I enjoyed the training. It's very, very. I just cut him off at the middle of the training when he was talking. So I really do enjoy and capture something very important from that training. It's very good. I want to thank God to be part of this innovation, and I believe I'm blessed here. So my question I want to ask here is talk about 2, 3 factors that's sustainable factors that sustain the cryptocurrency, which is it talk about you know being the utility. You talk about utility. So my question on this is on the diaspora city. You talk about that. So I want to know how many percentage has Chief gone on that diaspora city's progress. So I want to know. That is what I ask for now. I will ask the next question later, but let's just ask this one for now. How far
Uh,
Okay.
has
I'm not sure
how
if Chief is in the house. I don't think I notice him, but that is a question that you would have to put directly to Mr. Abundance. I am not able to provide an answer for that one. Thank you.
Thank you,
okay?
Mr. Carr. Thank you, Mr. Pius. Any other question from
That's
anybody
for
else in the house?
now.
Doctor? Yes,
Go ahead. Yes, Mr. Aki.
yes, Dr. Delia, thank you. To try and tackle this question, this concern the brother mentioned, um, the proof of use case, if you can look at ecosystems, and a perfect example of how Africans were able to do that in America at one time. I'd like for you to go on YouTube or Google, and just Google the the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre, or the Tulsa, Oklahoma riots. And that was a time in history where African Americans had created their own ecosystem where the money was circulating amongst ourselves in a community, a large radius. And it created extraordinary wealth that has never been seen since that. They called it Black Wall Street also. And so basically, when the Abundance Diaspora City, well, let's back up. The coin will go on exchange, of course. We will continue the marketing like we're doing with these various mediums and platforms, YouTube, what's that, Twitter, Facebook, X, et cetera, et cetera. Well, that's the marketability, getting us out there, letting people know who we are, what our themes, our philosophy, slogan, mission and vision is, and then we're going to utilize tax in purchasing goods, services, commodities within the city. In other words, uh, based upon our skill sets, our trades, our professions, our line of work, that coin will be circulating amongst ourselves. That's the use case, the utilization. And that will definitely drive the price of tax through the roof, in my opinion. I know it will. And so I hope I answered your question. I tried to answer it in progression, from the exchange being listed, being made visible, and then, of course, the marketing. And then, of course, our chief talks about the diaspora city, how important that is, and, and, um, and both in fortifying the value of tax. I hope I was able to answer that um, to some degree, the use case and the
Thank
progression.
you.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much, brother. Yes, that was a help.
thank you.
Thank
God
you,
bless
Mr. Aki. Thank you.
Hello, doctor.
Go ahead, Mr. Victor. Is that you?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Jesse, my brother, thank you so very much for today. I think to me is just special and real time special to me. And hence, I'm bringing up this question. Um, haven't you outlined factors that will promote TAC and then also per se factors that can we say are nonetheless not promoting TAC at all or will not promote TAC to any level. So may I put up this question to you, sir? Um, the clamor for TAC exchange, as far as the topic of discussion today is concerned, you and I can see it to the later that yes, the clamor for tax exchange is far on the high than any other wish from any person based on what you have outlined today. So I'm asking the clamor right now based on this topic for exchange and the clamor for building a strong community base. Which one by this time now should any one of us go for? Thank you, sir.
Thank you for that question, brother. Yes, based on all that we have discussed today, it is by far that we ought to be pushing for the strong community, strong utility, because as I mentioned before, as Brother Aki would have just pointed out, if we have the Afro Diaspora City up and running and we're able to spend tax in that city, then the avenue or the exchange, which is the place you go to do trading, etc., there'll be no shortage of demand for tax where it's available for trading. And so all that has come out in the training is if we establish the things that cause a cryptocurrency, and in this specific case, the things that will cause TAC to have sustained demand and value, then the exchange would be basically a foregone conclusion. Once we're listed, the demand would be self-evident, and we will have no issues with trading, with liquidity, or any of that issue. So by far, it is the other things that are necessary to sustain that will really make our listing worthwhile. Thank you.
Hello, hello, hello. Please, I want to
Uh,
throw more light. I want to contribute to this question, please.
Go
Do
ahead
I have the
briefly.
permission?
Go ahead briefly, Mr. Pines, because somebody else
I
has another question. Go ahead.
think based on this lecture tonight, I think the exchange is not. In fact, it's not needed now because I think before the exchange would have been launched, all this other job should have been done. So as soon as we launch the exchange, it will just be a kind of you know we are opening the market, launching the market for us to start using. So If not that, maybe they have gone far in that on that process. I think that process should have been suspended first, and we start these other jobs. How to expand this and those factors that will sustain this coin and make it grow. That's the most thing, the primary thing we need to do now. It's very, very important, irrespective of the current situation of some people, person, because most of these person are just to dump the coin. I was so surprised when I saw somebody today. I visited today or yesterday. Yes, this afternoon or yesterday. What he was saying that he want to sell his coin at $14, something that we have not opened exchange. Imagine how some people think. It's very, very bad. So I think that would have been, if possibly they can postpone that the launch of this exchange, then let these other jobs be done. Before then, it would have been better. Because most of these people, they are just waiting to just go and dump this coin. I thank God for the system of logging the percentage of the coin, which is going to help us. So that is
Thank
my
you.
version towards that.
Thank you, Mr. Pius. Mr. Carr, do you have a response to that, or do I go on to the next question?
Well, just quickly, let me just say, throughout my presentation, I did say a lot of these things are a continuous process. Like the diaspora city is being developed alongside what we're doing now. With the technological side of it has been put in place with the proof of authority. We continue in the marketing. So we are expanding the base. All these things are being done likewise. But as I said, the exchange listing is important as well because it does provide an avenue. So it is a combination of all these things. But it's just to get us not to focus simply on listing on the exchange and that's it. Okay? So
Okay.
we are moving forward with the listing and all the other
Thank you.
Thank you
things.
very much.
Okay,
Can,
Mr.
can I
Jason,
speak, please?
hello, Mr. Stanley. Mr. Jason is next, and then you. Go
Okay.
ahead, Mr. Jason.
All right, thank you very much. One love everybody in the house. I'm Jason from Florida, known as Redemption. Um, my brother Carr said something about trading, and people know that all things can be traded. But I want the community, since we have about 100 and something people in the house, think carefully about what we have built. What will you be trading tap for? Which coin is doing what TAC is doing even now? And in future, what we are building, this train has just picked up,
Hmm.
start to move. It has not reached its full speed yet. What would you trade it for? There is nothing to actually trade it for, because as you say, supply and demand. The demand for it will be so high because the supply is in your hands. So even without brains, if you really think about it, it will go beyond your imagination. That is what Chief Abundance is building. There will be nothing to really trade it for. One love.
Thank you, Mr. Jason. Mr. Stanley.
Okay.
Hello.
Thank you
Mr.
very much,
Stanley is
Dr.
next.
Delia.
Go ahead, Mr.
Yeah,
Stanley.
thank you, Dr. Delia. And thank you, Mr.
We're not hearing you, Mr. Stanley. You okay? The network.
Like we lost him.
Yeah, Mr. Stanley, we'll come back to you, okay? Because we're not hearing you. Miss Judith, you want to ask your question in the meantime?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Taylor. Thank you also, Mr. Carr, for the training today. As a new person in crypto, I've picked up something and I
I'm
think it's
sorry.
very important.
Can I continue?
Uh,
My system really took off. Sorry.
okay,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. Madam Judith, just hold on. Go ahead, Mr. Stanley. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, please. I was commending the trainer for valid points he mentioned. Really, he came up to buttress the fact that both exercises are going on simultaneously. And I know that from inception, Afro Diaspora City has been nurtured and is being put in place, fine tuned from time to time. And all these things we are doing are all to promote the Afro Diaspora City. The Afro Diaspora City is all about human beings, all about the community. You understand? And listing is about
Hmm. He went out again. Okay, Mr. Stanley, we're not.
sorry,
You
yes.
go ahead, Mr. Stanley. Your network is a
So what
little
I'm saying
patchy.
is that yes, please, please, I'm sorry. Yeah, what I'm saying is that all of us should witness the fact that both exercises are going on smoothly and in pari passu, none is being left behind. And the issue of listing will never stop the idea of Afro diaspora city being expanded. And in short, it gives it the ingredients. Because, you know, in the world we are living today, it's about convention. And that is why I so much love what is happening now. This land issue, the energy, this thing, provision for Africa is another way, like Carr mentioned, partnership with other businesses. This is what TAC can do. TAC can go all out to partner and bring in businesses that will ensure that utility is sustained. And people like to see what they see is what convinces them. Actually, we can talk about
Hmm. Okay, let's move on to Madam Judith. Mr. Stanley, we'll move on right now because you're going in and out. Madam Judith, you want to go ahead?
Okay, thank you, ma'am, once more.
Go ahead.
As I was saying that,
can I conclude?
Just complete it, Mr. Stanley. Just complete.
Can I, can I conclude?
You
Sorry. Let
conclude.
me just conclude in 1 minute. Yes. What I'm saying is that let us not belabor the fact that the listing and Afro Diaspora City are going pari passu. No, none is against the other. Let us not bring that kind of confusion, so to say, because it is not, there's no confusion at all, the way I understand it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Stanley. Okay, Madam Judith, it's your turn. Madam Judith, you there?
hello.
Okay, I'm so
Yes,
sorry
thank
about
you.
that.
Thank you.
Go.
No problem. Thank you, doctor. And then I would like to thank Mr. Carr as well for the training. As I was saying, as a new person in crypto, but I've picked up something, there's a practical part, there's a theory, but uh, I've picked up something. He spoke about utility, which is, I assume, what could be, but I would like him to explain to me what he meant about utility. And then again, the point that I've picked up is expanding the base is one that will cause the demand in our coin. So at the back of my mind, I'm thinking now we should put our hands more in the spade to invite more people. And the other part that I want to be sure of is this one of inviting companies. Are we going to approach companies so that they can use tech? For example, maybe a car company will approach the owner and that he might use a tech to pay their employees or some stuff like that. I just want to be clear about that one so that when we start putting our hands on the spade, we should know what is it that actually we have to do because we want to take to go uphill more than it is now. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Judith. Mr. Carr?
Thank you. That is excellent, Madam Judith. You're spot on. And that is what we ultimately want to achieve, is for you not to have to even convert your tax to fiat to do business. But if you can get businesses to accept tax direct, that is what we're aiming for. And so, as you rightly said, if we can get businesses to buy in, as I say, I spoke about partnerships, I spoke about merchant adoption. Those are the things that will drive sustained value. Because if you're able to, as you mentioned, go to a car dealership and pay with tax, I mean, it's a done deal. We're able to go to the airline, pay for your ticket, pay for your food, your groceries, your utility, everything with tax. um, you could imagine what price tag would be. And so that's you hitting the nail right on the head. In terms of utility, utility is all of this, is the real world application, what we actually can use the cryptocurrency to do, what we can do with tech. That's in the name itself, the utility. So you are spot on, my sister. That's what we're all aiming for, and that's what the Afro Diaspora City brings to the table, and a place where tax can be spent without even having to convert it. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we'll open the floor to general questions right now as
Hello.
well. Yes, Reverend Gideon. Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, Rev.
It is evening here in Nigeria.
Mm,
Yes, I'm speaking from Lagos, Nigeria.
okay.
I want to tell everybody I enjoyed the training so much. It is awesome. And I'm so much blessed abundantly with good understanding of the purpose of TAC now. My question is about Diaspora City. Number one, is it a project that will be built in a particular city or every city? Like we have 57 countries that are members. Will Diaspora City be built in each of the country? That's number one. If not, where will Diaspora City be built to? Then two or three, if it is so, how can every member benefit from whatsoever is created in Diaspora City? So these are my questions. Number one, where will it be built? Two, or will it be built in each country that are members? Like we have 57 countries that we are member. Then if it's going to be in one place, how can each member benefit from whatsoever project is established in Diaspora City? Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you, Reverend, for your questions. In terms of where, Mr. Abundance will give the final location, but for Diaspora City will be built in one location, from my understanding. So it will not be that there will be a city in every country where TAC is represented. it will be in one location. So that's the answer question one and two. And question three, Mr. Abundance did begin to put some meat on the bones, and to I trust more will be developed in time. But one way is that we as Tiashans or investors will be able to buy into the diaspora city, where we'll be able to have thing buy lands and etc. And I think the term he used at the time, I stand to be corrected, was being able to get royalties and so into perpetuity, in ownership, so that as the city develops and as it generates revenue, that we would benefit directly from these revenues that are generated in the city. And as I said, I'm sure more details would be given as we go along, but that's just on the general, as to how we can all benefit. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Mr. Carr.
Doctor,
Yes.
yeah, just an addition to what the presenter have said regarding the question from Daddy Akinremi there. I mean, I'm taking from number two question, what will be the benefit? Okay, number three question rather. The benefit of the diaspora
Each
city,
member, yes, for
yeah,
each member.
each member state in Africa or member country.
Yes.
This is a trade zone. If you check in Nigeria today, you have what you call a free trade zone. In a free trade zone, this is where goods and services are housed in the state, and economically, it generates revenue to that state that is housing that free trade zone. In free trade zone, you have, like in Calabar Free Trade Zone, you have example, this foil importation, like Northwest Oil have a center where they offload oil there. And when the ship bets in Calabar port, the Cross River State will charge revenue. They charge Northwest Oil revenue. So not just only Northwest, for instance, that is betting their ship there. There are other goods that are also entering. It could be drugs, pharmaceutical equipment, and others, agricultural produce from other states and other neighboring countries are coming in there. Fertilizer, for instance, is also there. So this is just example of what Afro Diaspora City is aimed at, where all of the African nations will do business seamlessly using just this one currency, as we have anticipated that TAC will become the exchange, the legal tender to be used to pay.
Currency.
If goods are coming from Nigeria, you pay with TAC. If it is coming from Cameroon, it is being paid with TAC. It is coming from South Africa, it's being paid with TAC. Even when buyers and importers from the Caribbean and other Western nations want to come and say, okay, we need this, that become the legal tender for this exchange. So the benefits are enormous that Nigeria are trading in there. Cameroonians are trading in there. South Africans are doing business there. And then this is just the benefit for every one of us, not just for traders per se, but also for tax holders. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well said, Mr. Victor. Okay, let's get to, we're going to wrap up. Any more questions or comments?
Hello, I've come again. I've come again. Please, I want to know. Let me ask this question. This tax now. What is the units of tax going to be called, or what is has there been any name given to the unit of tax? For example, like in BT, like dollar, we have what do you call cent. I think Bitcoin own is around Satoshi. Satoshi. So, like TAC, what are the units of TAC going to be called? Because I think it's not necessary for us to understand or to create things like that.
Mr. Carr?
Well, beyond the general term TAC, because it's going to be trading just as Bitcoin trades at BTC. The Abundance Community Coin trades at TACC, which is TAC. I don't know if Mr. Abundance has decided that we're going to have a name for perhaps fractions or the smallest units of TAC. I'm not privy to that. Mr. Abundance could shed more light on that, or if we're just going to be leaving it as perhaps just a fraction of TAC as it trades. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any last questions, comments before you wrap up?
My comment here, can I make my comment here, please? I want to appeal and advise every one of us, more especially the people from these parts of the world, to please try and hold our coin, even at the time when the exchange will be launched, because so that you don't cry at the end, just as other people are crying today. So that is my little contribution to here now to the house, to the body, to the community. So please, thank you.
Okay, Mr.
Hello,
Pius.
hello, doctor.
Yes, Reverend.
Yes, in addition to what my brother have said, my advice to every member, especially those who are seriously in need, because some people are right now seriously in needs of money, to be realistic. You see, but if we go into exchange, if exchange is life now, and we want to meet all our needs immediately, it will be disastrous. Number one, I want everybody to see what you have put in TAC as if, what of if you have lost that money? What of if something has happened and the money has disappeared before? Just take it like that and be patient for
Yes.
the right time. For the right time, because somebody can do a business with money and the business collapse.
You
It's
are right.
possible. It has been happening. So if we don't take things like that and just be blaming abundance, blaming this person, and being haste or want to change the money, like somebody said, want to sell his own. You see, at the end, it will be like somebody who used 10,000 Bitcoin to buy pizza. So let us apply faith, trusting God, and looking forward to help from above, if I could say it like that. Because if we in haste and put the money to exchange anyhow, well, it will affect us in future. So I pray that God will sustain everybody, God will provide for everybody, so that we can really have enough to maintain our family and to meet some important needs around us in Jesus' name. Thank you.
Amen. Reverend, beautifully said. Mr.
Amen.
Honesty is my rule. Go ahead. You're the last comment or question. Go ahead, Mr. Honesty is my rule.
All right. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Yeah, it's just a kind of suggestion or anyway. If we look at the way BTC entered the world, they have a target, and I can say they got the target. So I would like TAC to actually act that way. We have a target. Our target is United Africa. So if you look at BTC, they make sure they get America, because America is the world. As they get America, they get the world. So I would like to see a direction where we all know, if TAC can get Nigeria, I bet that is the end. The team of this coming year, it is finished. That is it. So that's just my contribution for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Honest is my rule. And I think this is a good way to end today. Today is the 28th of December, and we are going into the new year, where our theme for TAC is "It is finished." And it is finished. So let's all come together in unity. Let's do the necessary. And Mr. Carr, he's articulated it so well as what needs to be done for TAC to be sustainable. Mr. Carr, I want to thank you so much. I was about to call you Mr. TAC, Mr. Carr, but Mr. Carr, thank you so much for your eloquent, your knowledgeable discourse today. You gave us so much food for thought. It was an excellent training. As I said, lots of unlearning and relearning today. And I hope all Tiashans know today what we have to do as we go into the new year, thinking and feeling it is finished. So thank you, all of you, for attending training today. Please unmute and say hi.
Put your money in tack, put your money in tack, invest and show that your money come back. Put your money in tack, put your money in tack, invest and show that your money come back. Everybody say, one child, one youth, one tack, one child, one youth, one tack, 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 tack. Become financially free, join the abundance community, diaspora city. Yeah, we got global accessibility, your future, your currency. Everybody say, one child, one youth, one tack, one child, one youth, one tack, 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 tack. Become financially free. Join the Abundance Community Diaspora City. Contact our website or social media for more info. Everybody say, one child, one youth, one tack, one child, one youth, one tack.